It's Wip Wednesday, so here are my works in progress of the week. I'm still chugging along on my Avenue tee. If you're looking for a basic fingering weight garment, I cannot recommend this one enough. Plus, the pattern was recently updated to have both short and long sleeves. I'm thinking I'm going to make this version into a long sleeve sweater. And I only worked on this when I went to see Spider-Man last week, and I put in a little stitch marker to see how much progress I could get done. And honestly, I got more than I was expecting. It's also kind of good that I was knitting on this in the dark, because I think if I was knitting this in the daylight and like actively looking at my work, probably would have wanted to cut out the mint, but I'm trying not to be picky with the sweater, and I'm just letting the colors come as they may. I also finally finished the yoke on my Woolfolk test knit. I'm still absolutely enamored with this bright red yarn, and it's so squishy and soft, and I love the wide rib texture. But I do have a decision to make, and that is, what buttons do I use? Do I use red buttons? Do I use mother of pearl buttons? Do I use dark wooden brown button? I don't know. Also, it's kind of looking funny on the hanger, but I do really like this asymmetrical neck opening thing it's got going on. And then I've got my one sewing loop of the week. I'm trying to see how many projects I can get out of one pattern, which is the Ruffle Brunch set by Matchy Matchy Sewing Club, and I'm currently on project 4. I modified the top to be a little shift dress, and because I wasn't sure how it was going to fit, I wanted to make this version purely out of scrap. So there was quite a lot of seam ripping because my original version looked kind of funny. But then I decided to patch together the gingham, and I was able to get enough fabric to make this dress. I'm also thinking of going back and adding in some visible stitches perhaps over the patchwork sections to kind of just emphasize the patchworkiness of the dress. I also decided to use piping for the first time ever. There was a pretty large learning curve for me, but I am overall happy with the effect. And I think I did a French seam for the first time ever because I did not want to make my own facing, and I found this great YouTube tutorial on how to do a front seam with piping. Thank God for YouTube tutorials and the people who make them. The last step is to finish the bottom hem of this dress. It is quite short, so I do think I'm just going to go ahead and buy another pack of piping and pipe the bottom hem as well. And I also think it will add a little bit of structure to the hem because this fabric is very lightweight, so the dress is really flowy, but I kind of want to emphasize like the A-line nature of it because I realize the shape does remind me of a lot of the like 60s mod sewing patterns. So this will be a finished object next week for sure.